On to another AFC game. Jags at Titans. Jacksonville down to a 3.5, 4-point road favorite. It's down from where it was earlier in the week at 5.5. We mentioned some of these inflated lines, at least on Sunday night, Monday. This was certainly one of them. Total of 39.5, 40. Mo, I know which way you're looking, so explain why you like the home underdog.
Yeah, this is a weird one because like when we talked about this morning and I said I wanted to talk about it, the line was 5.5. So I think it's got hammered this morning. It's down to like 3.5, 4, depending on where you're looking. I still think it's playable even after the steam. Honestly, anything better than 3, I think is fine, but it's starting to get a little bit thinner for sure. Just a really high motivation spot for the Titans, man. I mean, people just want to believe that this is just a dead team playing a live team, but this Titans team, they know the Jags ended their season last year in a extremely, highly charged game there and a close game. They've had this game circled for months. They don't care that they're out of it. And the public just loves to smash the other side of these games. But I am not convinced that the Jaguars are. I think so I tried to fade the Jags last week, and I think maybe the fact that they were able to come out and just blank the Panthers is creating kind of a false sense of, security, I guess is not the right word, but a false sense that the Jaguars are just fine. And I still don't think they are. They still can't run the ball. Yeah, they still can't run the ball. I mean, this team hasn't been able to run the ball all year. Even last week, ETN rips off that long touchdown. Outside of that one, they had 2.7 yards per attempt from their running backs. And this is not just you can take away the best play they had, and of course it's going to look different. But this is how they've looked all year running the ball. They cannot block. And that means it's all on this passing offense. And when was the last time this passing offense looked good? Similar to what I was saying about the Bills, it's been a long time. I was checking back. I think it's been basically since the Bengals game early December. That was the last time they had a nice, really good, efficient game that wasn't basically the product of, some garbage time, which is pretty much when they were scoring on the Browns. Only thing here is that Christian Kirk did get activated off IR, but it's still his first week being eligible. And I think for the most part, we've seen players that do get activated don't play. So I'm still expecting him to be an underdog to play. But that being said, obviously, this is a spot where they would push it if it's close. So we'll see how that shakes out. But with Kirk and with Zay back practicing limited, maybe this is going to be fine again. I'm still skeptical once again. I mean, Zay, we saw him before. It took multiple weeks of practices before he returned from his last injury. And the guy throwing him the ball isn't exactly the healthiest himself. Obviously he missed last week, but multiple injuries, shoulder injury, ankle injury. I feel very unlikely he's 100% in this game. And I just really like the Titans, but it's definitely starting to get where it's not as exciting. I thought 5.5 was crazy. I would still bet this now, though, and I am going to take some 4s, I think, today.
Right. There are still 4s available. 3.5, 4. You can price shop over at thelines.com. You heard it in Mike Vrabel's press conference earlier in the week. There's going to be no shortage of motivation for Tennessee, even if it is his last game as the Titans coach. You mentioned Lawrence, or at least Kirk and Zay Jones limited in practice. Lawrence limited as well, but he's obviously going to be a full go, and a ton of pressure on him, literally and figuratively, because like you hit on too, Jacksonville dead last since week 13 in rushing success rate. And you also brought up a really good point going back to the Panthers game, and we'll get to Carolina in a second. But the Panthers didn't have a place kicker from the get-go. Eddie Pinheiro was hurt in warmups, and Carolina had a shot to get a field goal on their first or second offensive possession, which would have tied the game and kind of changed the narrative and the script of that game completely. I know Bryce Young struggled, but still something to keep in mind. Jags secondary is getting healthier, though. Andre Sisco and Tyson Campbell played the majority of the snaps last week, I believe, and Jacksonville top 12 in pressure rate against a very, very below average Tennessee offensive line. So if Titans and Will Levis get into a negative game script, it could be an issue.